When I put myself where I can make strikes on him, he can't make strikes on me. I can manipulate him, he can't manipulate me. And this goes into, where's my center line, where is his center line? My center line's on my opponent or my enemy or my training partner. His center line is away, dealing with whatever's in front of him. He has to observe, reorient, and then continue to think about the decisions and actions he has available to him. Hi, my name's Shewey, and today I'm going to be showing you entries and options off of a jab. As we're here in front of our opponent, right, I'm ready for action. As he jabs, I'm going to parry this, and at the same time I'm going to step offline. I can then begin to monitor. This can be a hammer fist, this can be a check strike, set up my next strike, right? If I'm throwing a jab or a cross, if I'm throwing a round kick, outside, inside, right? If I'm going to attach, I can then begin to maneuver my opponent into a better position so that I can detain, help, call 911. I'm looking, I'm monitoring. Maybe he has friends, right? I don't know what's happening. Maybe he has something on him that I don't want on him, right? Things like this, okay? But that's all off of your jab, parry, and move. So we just talked about detaining, right? Getting my person to the ground and getting their hands away from any weapon system. Now let's look at what I can do striking wise off this lead jab. Whether it's right hand, left hand, doesn't really matter, right? So as this jab comes in, the first thing I want to do is I want to parry and I want to move offline, right? I'm on line here. As he jabs, I want to move and step offline. His center line is now oriented away from me, as my center line is now continued to orient towards him, right? As I parry this, maybe he can bring it back. That's fine. I'm just gonna, I can hammer fist, right? I can strip and move, barrier removal, as I follow up with a second strike high to the face, right? This could then be low to the body, right? I can kick low. I can step in knee for those of us that do Muay Thai, right? These are the things I'm looking for, right? I'm trying to hit the soft spots, okay? Do more damage, impede his ability to continue the fight. Because what I want to do is I want to sap his energy so that he has less energy to fight and I have more energy to fight. Violence of action is key here because I want to make sure that I'm optimizing my strikes. And by stepping offline, I open up so many more possibilities to do so. Lastly, I'd like to talk about takedowns, right? As the jab comes in and I step offline and I monitor, I can close, right? And when I close, I can start my grappling sequence. As I keep my head close, he doesn't have any purchase to strike. I'm pinning arms. I'm exposing legs for maybe even a double leg. As I trap his legs, I can continue him down to the ground and I can continue to monitor. I'm monitoring with my knees so that he has a hard time getting up. My hands are looking for hands. They're looking for weapons. They're looking for soft spots. Maybe I can push his face away to further continue his will to fight, right? And as I push this away, right, we're on concrete, so I'm gonna be a little nice, but as I push this away, that doesn't feel good. So what is he gonna do? He's probably gonna roll over. Let me get the hands. Right, now I can start my detaining sequence as I rip this here, and I can rip this here, right? Now I can go to my cuffing sequence. I can keep my eyes up because I'm monitoring with my hands. My eyes are up, keeping eyes on the surrounding areas because maybe this guy has friends. Maybe he's not the only one. Maybe there's somebody taking a video and I don't want myself being aggressive in this video because social media is a thing. We need to be monitoring this at all times. Looking at this jab, right? As I parry and I get offline, I now have access to his legs, right? I have access to a lot of different vulnerable spots, right? As I close, I can now descend my hands to the legs and drive through my opponent to the ground, right? Now this is where I have a hard time in a self-defense situation thinking about sport grappling or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, no-gi, things like this. I don't want to be on the ground with on my back on the ground. However, I do want my opponent to have his back on the ground. I want to subdue my opponent with pressure while also being able to stay mobile. And to do that, I'm going to use my knees in very soft spots. Right here, I can feel the bottom of his rib cage, which is essentially where his diaphragm starts. As I continue to put pressure, it gets harder and harder for my opponent to breathe. Right now, in the position I'm in, it's not very optimal because his hands are away from me. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to turn and switch. Now, I have a different field of view. I want to keep my eyes up because maybe he has friends, right? But I'm also continuing to monitor with my body position, with my knee in his chest, and with my hands trying to fight his hands. Because the thing I don't want is I don't want these to go to my waist because I have tools on my waist. I don't want them to go to his waist because he has tools on his waist. So now my hands begin to monitor hands, and maybe, just maybe, I start to look around, monitoring hands. I get to the mounted position, right? I can still keep my eyes up. I can still keep pressure on my opponent, right? All while observing the world around me. You know, I have to think about, where am I putting myself? Am I putting myself in a place of danger unintentionally? Am I putting myself in an optimal position so that my opponent doesn't have strikes? Right? Because if we look at this, here, he can grab me, he can punch me, he can hit me all he wants. But as I move around, right, he has a harder time striking me because he doesn't have hands on his back, right? His eyes are in the front. All my weapons are facing my opponent. None of his weapons are facing me. So that's where I want to put myself. I want to put myself where I can make strikes on him, he can't make strikes on me. I can manipulate him, he can't manipulate me. And this goes into, where's my center line, where is his center line? My center line's on my opponent or my enemy or my training partner. His center line is away, dealing with whatever's in front of him. He has to observe, reorient, and then continue to think about the decisions and actions he has available to him. Thanks for watching, guys. Again, my name is Shewey. You can find me online at Warrior Shewey on Instagram, and email me at seanshewey@gmail.com. Thank you.